That scraping noise was actually the exhaust right there, so nothing too bad. So that's not so bad, but damn, let's check this thing out in the sunlight. Can't wait to get it cleaned up. Wow. I love it. Needs a good wash, but holy cow. Not really any white smoke out in the back there anymore. Whew! So beautiful. She looks good. I love this thing. Woo! So excited. Alright, let's try her out. See how it goes. Let's hope I can get down my driveway, 'cause it's pretty low. Oh, a little bit of scrapage. Never hurt nobody. There we go. Well, the sun is bright. Seems to be struggling a little bit. I'm not sure why. Maybe it needs some warm up or what. Oh, that was a gross noise. Ugh, scrapes. Time to do some work on the good old girl. We're gonna be putting in taking out the 4-inch blocks, putting in these lower 3-inch aluminum blocks. Pretty solid block. New U-bolts, and possibly pulling off the wheels, sanding them down and getting them ready for some paint. But also what I want to do is right here, some ghetto ass, you know, hangers. I want to actually put some real hangers on. All the way down there's no hangers at all actually, it's all wire tied. So I'm gonna get that fixed. We got really high off the ground. I love that's the thing I love about these trucks, you can get really high off the ground, so that's nice. Might actually cut this exhaust off and put on sort of a blast pipe style thing like this. We'll see. I just don't really like the way it looks. You know, make it look a little bit better. And then so these blocks are gonna come out. They're actually pretty bad looking. That one's beat up a bit. That's not really safe. The same thing goes with this one. And they could crumble, and then that would be scary on the highway for sure. I would not want to have that happen. There's also another brake line on there, looks like, that's cut, so I might pull that off just to clean it up a little bit so there's less stuff happening. And then another thing is I kind of want to put a roll pan in. A lot of people are it's really nasty out today. Like the garbage cans and everything are falling down. Hey, look at that. I picked this thing up the other day. I'll have a video out on this guy too. Hopefully the wind's not too bad, but this thing's super sweet. It came with a bunch of sets of wheels, and there's a little surprise. New blocks put in, exhaust hangers welded on now. So this looks pretty cool. I did like kind of a hanger up here. I welded it right here onto like one of the U-bolts, and worked actually really well as a hanger. And then I took a hanger off another exhaust I had, did it over here, just tacked it on kind of thing, and it's actually pretty solid. Not bad for a little tack job. The new U-bolts are put in. I mean, very straightforward. Same with the block. So it should be an inch higher now, which isn't the greatest thing, but whatever. It's a lot safer than it was, so that'll be a bonus. I was gonna put the exhaust out this way, but I'm still learning to weld. This is probably my best weld I've ever done. That's usually what they look like. So that's saying something. I gotta learn how to do, you know, more welding and whatnot. And it's, I mean, it is hard when you're on your back kind of thing, but we'll see. So can't wait to give this thing a test drive and see how it works. It's gonna be really exciting. I'll lower it down right now. There she is, back on the ground. It's got some play in the suspension now, which is nice. You know, there is this kind of nasty gap, which I think might settle a little bit based on how the shocks basically absorb it and their toxic drops though. But that's the distance now. There's the front. I'm gonna raise the front up probably, you know, 1/2 inch just by twisting the torsion bar bolts at the back. Should raise it up, and then it'll be fairly level at that point, and it'll be actually drivable. So this is way better than it was, and I'm pretty excited. So I got the truck jacked up, put in the air. I'm noticing a little bit of an oil burn or oil leak. If you look, I think the oil leak is actually just one of those spots there. I think it's actually just from the pan. It looks kind of like it's just from the pan, so I'm not too worried about that, but there is a bit of an oil burn. And the other concerning thing is, you know, it's got the typical lifter noise. The lifter, like chatter, I guess you'd call it. And I don't really like that because I think what it's doing is actually burning oil while it's doing it. So I need to sort that out, but what I'm gonna try to do is put a kind of sea foam through it, which I already did, and I drove home, and then see if the sea foam, after I drain some of the oil, put it through, let it run for a bit, see if that kind of reduces the noise, because I think basically all it is a little buildup on those lifters, or they could be shot, you never know. Because when I'm driving this on the highway, it's so loud, like there's a lot of engine noise, a lot of wheel noise. So I think it's because the winter tires for the wheels. I'm gonna pull those off, figure that out. Also, by taking another look underneath, there's something else I noticed in here. And this shock here, I put these in, you know, 2.5 years ago, and it's gone through 3 owners, so don't get me wrong, but this one here, it looks blown, like it looks like has a lot of stress, and the other side looks perfectly fine. So I mean, that's, what can you do? I mean, I guess there's a lot of stress. So what I'm gonna do in that case, I think what actually happened is one of the previous owners actually lowered the front a little bit more, and all you do is, there's 2 bolts on this torsion bar right here. There's one here and one on the other side, and then if you follow it back to the end, there is a bolt on this sort of thing right here. Let's see if I can, that bolt. So you pull that bolt all the way, this will just fall, it just kind of sits there, and then all these are is a little spline, and you pull out the 2 bolts and the whole apparatus will fall out. Now you want it off the ground. If you don't, there's gonna be pressure on it and it's gonna bind on you. It's not very safe, don't do that. But pull it out, and then there's splines on it. You don't want it to move, like this will move off this, and I'll kind of show you how that works, but you really don't want it to move or you're kind of screwed and you gotta do a guessing game. So what I'm gonna do is, I think this side has been re-indexed 1 more spline in, whereas it should have been out compared to the other one. And I'd rather the truck be higher right now. I know mini truck, like, what are you doing lifting it up? Like, I mean, I lifted the back up. I mean, that's on jack, so it seems way higher. I lifted the back up 1 inch, and I did the front. I lifted it about 1.5 inches, and it was tucked. Like the fenders right here were about here on the wheel, and I have it to about here now. I mean, it's trivial. I mean, it rides like crap. Like, you can't hit a bump on the highway or your back's shattered. And the idea is, me and my fiance, we drove this across to Nova Scotia, and now this year, because we live in the middle of Canada, literally Saskatchewan, we're gonna go all the way out to Vancouver, and do, like, my sister lives out there, so we're gonna go see her. We're gonna see a bit of things and stuff like that. So fixes I need to do. I hate road noise. Get that removed. Make sure the engine's not burning too much oil. Figure out that issue. And then, you know, raise the front up so it's not too tight, but I also like the low look, so let's kind of play around with that and see what we can do. And the other thing I want to do is fix, there's one more noise, and it's the exhaust. So there's this blast pipe style thing here, and it's rubbing right on this torsion bar end. So that's making a lot of annoying noise. So I kind of want to get that fixed. And then I didn't make a video of it, but when I was doing the 3-inch blocks, I put those in, and I welded a couple brackets onto the back here for the exhaust. I just used actually the old U-bolt and I welded it on there, and I put it actually into a rubber hanger at the top, and then I did the same thing halfway through, so it's actually pretty sturdy. I actually put it under the diff, and I should have put it above, but. And then one more thing, not necessary, but my hydro, it needs bleeding, and the clutch and the brakes need bleeding too, so I'm gonna do all of that at once, get that all functioning, and then we'll see how it goes. So for today, just kind of want to fix this main torsion bar, get it leveled out properly, and see where it goes. So it pretty much just wiggles loose. As you can see, it's like wiggly. And that's like, all this is once it's on the ground, this will actually tighten up if you had it like this. And it would be like, you could drop the vehicle down right now and it would be like slammed. Because it's just gonna take this and twist it up. And it's just gonna push. And that's basically how it's a spring bar setup. Because these don't have any springs on them. So this basically is acting as a spring right now. So I can pull this bolt out all the way. So all I'm gonna do is just literally drop it out and then crack off the two front ones. So before I pull this all the way out, I'm crack the two fronts so they're a little easier to get at instead of this bar flapping around. So we're just gonna crack the two front ones now. Wow, so these two front bolts, if you have an impact, it'd be ideal, but I don't think my impact will fit in here. So I have my guy on this one here. I loosened that one off finally, and they are on there tight. Like, you gotta have a lot of force to crack those off, and like they're kind of brittle at the same time, so they want to strip. So you want to be careful. So I don't know. I'm trying to break them loose with a hammer, trying to break them loose with this. I think one more crack with this, and she'll come off. So see how it works. So there she is out on the ground. So as you can tell on this side here, if I push this in ever so slightly, let's see if you can see. Well, it's hard. Let me just get it kind of cleaned up a little bit quick here. Okay, now by pushing that back, you see these little splines here, here, and here. So this thing basically just is on this, and just you can slide it up and down. And the back side is just this big bar with a screw, a big bolt over there. And it just bolts up into the frame of the truck. So by turning this, it's putting more tension on it, meaning there's gonna be more spring, basically. And then it just, all it does is it goes right on to where that guy is right here at the front, where the two bolts we pulled off, and it lines up with splines on there. And there's two splines that basically control it. And if you move the truck up and down right now, it were to, like, if I were to drop it on the ground, it would basically like be, the front of the truck would be on the ground pretty much because there's no spring at all. So all I'm gonna do is take this, turn it, back it off a little bit from here. So we'll use a drop block, 4-inch drop block. All right, so it's right there. There. So I'm gonna push this back just a bit here. So there we go, we pushed it back. Now, there's splines on both this piece and this piece here. If I push it back enough, I can basically push it and turn the splines. Now, we wanna mark where we currently are, and you wanna do it counterclockwise. So this was on the truck like this. So counterclockwise will raise it, and clockwise spin will lower it. No, other way around. So, pretty sure it's the other way around. That would make sense actually. If it's on there like this, it's gonna be like that. Okay, so all I want to do is push it back just a small amount so it's off both splines like that, and turn it so now it's on both splines again. So all I did was turn it one notch to the counterclockwise. Turning it counterclockwise, I believe, is going to lower it. It's the other side. So all I'm going to do is put this back in, tie it all back up the same way we took it out, and then see where it sits compared to the truck. And then basically this bolt at the back, right here, this is the back bolt. You want to put this all the way as far as it goes. So it's twisted all the way in. So if you don't, you're not going to be even. And you can actually lower and raise the truck by basically releasing this. A lot of people just lower it by just this bolt, and I don't recommend that because this thing can fall out, wiggle out, and it causes for a bumpier ride. So you want this bolt as tight as you can go. To lower it, always just do it from the splines on this, and you know, go from there. But this is a stupid way to lower a truck, to be honest. I'd much rather do a coilover front end or something like that, but I don't have the skills or the know-how to do that at the moment. So we will do that in the future, I hope. Independent rear suspension, you know, front coilover, something like that would be pretty neat. But for now, this thing will be the coilover beast. This thing, the SR20, beautiful. SR20 would be cool in this though. How about this into this? Now that's an idea. Torsion bar is back in. Let's see if this did the trick. Come on, baby. I really hope it did. So if I went the wrong way, that would be really embarrassing. But at least the bolts are loose now, so they're easy to take out. So it could either be really high or really low. Ready? Slow and steady. Well, that may have been the right way because that thing is friggin' high. Holy cow. It was down to here. Now it's up to here. That's like 2-inch. Let's see if it's got much play. Not really. See if the other side's the same now. Nope. No, it's not. So this side is about here. This side is about 1/2 inch. So I went one too many notches on the other side. So I'm going to lift it back up, pull it out again, turn it again. It should only take me 5 minutes to pull it out now because it's really loose. But holy cow, look how high that is. That's no low life. Well, it is compared to factory, but actually it matches the back pretty well. But I'm gonna lift it or lower it just one more notch because that's a little too much. So try again.